All right, guys, can you hear me now? Can you guys, you have sound? Do we have sound now? Yes, no? Yes, no? That's yes, no, maybe so. Yes, no, maybe so. Sound? Hey, guys. All right, so can you hear me now? Do you hear me now, guys? Yes, sound, no, sound. Okay, so I'm going to proceed. I'm assuming you can hear me now because I unmuted my mic. Yes. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. Thanks, guys. All right. So, okay. So the following program is intended for mature audiences. Fernando Marone and guests are not licensed medical doctors, counselors, attorneys, or law enforcement officials. So for legal medical advice or treatment, please consult a licensed professional. You are 100% responsible for the choices and decisions you make in your life and are fully liable for the outcomes which may occur. All right, guys. So there we go. Ah, yay. Okay, cool. All right. So it's working now, right? So cool. All right. So thank you so much for joining me today. I am your host, resident psychic medium and Reiki healer. And on today's program, I have a very special guest. We are going to be talking about Reiki, what it is, and Reiki healing. I'm also going to answer some of your questions. So if you want to go ahead and start asking your questions right now, go ahead and type them in the comments section, and I will get to as many as I can. Please don't ask any mediumships questions, meaning that if you have someone who's deceased or on the other side and you want to talk to them, this is not the place for that at the moment. I would have to do a one-on-one to have more of a connection with that. But if you have any life questions pertaining to your health, your finances, career and work, relationships, if you want to ask about a specific situation you've been dealing with, I would be more than happy to try to answer your question. So go ahead and type those questions in the comment section below, and we will get to a point where we will answer some of those questions. And actually, I'm gonna have my guest help me with some of these questions. So my guest, her name is Victoria McSpadden, and she is a fellow Reiki healer and intuitive. She is my Reiki healer. So we Reiki healers, because I used to do a lot of Reiki, I actually have stopped doing Reiki for now because I'm going to be devoting most of my time to other things. But whenever I need a tune-up or whenever I need a little bit of an energy like release, I will essentially go to my Reiki healer, and she'll like line me up, and she'll like get my chakras all cleared out and so forth, and then I'm good to go. And after that, I feel amazing. And so Victoria McSpadden, I ran into her maybe a couple of years ago, and I've been going to her ever since. I'm pretty picky actually about the people who I go to for services, but I think that she's one of the best in Houston. And so without further ado, let me go ahead and bring Victoria on. Let's see. Hey, are you there?
Hey, I'm here.
Yay!
How are you?
Hi. All right, guys. So if you can see Victoria, then just send me a hey, hello. We see Victoria. We can hear Victoria. That way I know that she's coming through loud and clear. And so, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Happy evening.
I know. Happy evening too. It's like I wasn't sure who my guest was going to be this week, but I was like, well, let me see who do I want to talk to this week? Who would I really want to like converse with? And so I thought about you, and I was like, let me see if she's available. I'm like, it's a last minute like ditch effort, but I'm like, let me see if she's available. And then that's just me like waiting till the last minute. Waiting to the last minute to see. A lot of people are saying hi to you, so a lot of people say
Hi,
hi.
everyone. Thanks so much for having me on, too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So here, yes, everything's good. Okay, guys. So Victoria, so you are a Reiki healer, right?
Yes,
And
yes, I
intuitive, of
am.
course, right?
Of
So
course, yes.
what is Reiki? Because a lot of these people don't know what Reiki is. They've never even heard of Reiki. What is Reiki? Like, you sum it up for me.
Sure. So it's a natural system of healing. It's Japanese in origin, but basically we use universal life force energy, which is the energy that runs through us that keeps us alive and happy and healthy. And we use that energy to basically clear out any blockages that might be in your energy system that are keeping you from feeling as vital as you should.
Okay. And so what? How did you get into Reiki? I know, well, I have my story about how I got into Reiki, but I'll tell that in a minute. But I want you to tell everybody, like, how did you get into Reiki? What really drew you to the art form?
Sure. So about 6 years ago, I had a spiritual awakening. And afterwards, I was sitting at my dad's kitchen table and I was just sitting there thinking, and I was always one of those people, I didn't know my purpose. I had no idea what I was meant to do. And this voice just came in my head and it said, "You're meant to be a healer." And from then on, I started researching and kind of discovering which would be the best means for me to do that. And when I found Reiki, everything just made sense. The way the energy, like, it just made sense to me. And so I took the classes, and here we are.
So what was like your first Reiki experience like? Like, did you have, what was your like personal, like, how were you affected, like, immediately that you noticed?
Well, it was really interesting. I did Holy Fire, which is like a really high vibrational type of Reiki healing. And I literally felt like my body was on fire for a week after I took the class. Like, I didn't feel the pain, but it was like just this intense heat throughout my body. So I knew something was happening. I knew it was burning up my stuff or working through me and on me. So that was really incredible.
Yeah. It's, you know, that the heat, I think, is like a very common sensation or a very common like attribute of Reiki. Like, people either feel it in certain parts of their bodies. There's this idea that if you feel heat coming from the palms of your hands, or like for me, my ears get really hot when I'm working with some people, it means that energy is channeling through you. So what do you think is causing like some of that heat or those sensations there?
I think it really kind of is the frequencies, the vibration. So the faster molecules move, the hotter something feels typically. And when it's moving really fast, that's kind of how it's felt by our human bodies, I guess.
Yeah. The first time that I went to a Reiki session, so I had a friend who was a Reiki master, and I didn't know squat about Reiki, but I knew she practiced it, and I knew that that's what she did, right, every day. And I didn't really take it that seriously. And she was a masseuse as well, but she'd always been trying to get me to go over and get a Reiki session, and I never took it seriously. I was like, nah, I'm not really buying into that. I mean, I'll go for a massage. If you want to give me a free massage, I'll get a massage, but I'm not really buying into that whole energy, like woo-woo stuff. But I got to a point in my own personal development when I was trying to reinitiate my psychic abilities and sensitive abilities. I just was desperate, and I was like, I need something that's going to really help me to like initiate these abilities. And it wasn't working, and anything that I was trying felt like it wasn't working. So I just got so desperate, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to, if I can't pursue like Reiki, then, I mean, if I can't pursue psychic abilities, if I can't be a professional psychic medium, then I'm just going to go ahead and become a Reiki healer. And my friend's doing it. She seems to be doing very well. So why not give it a shot? So I went to her for a session. And the first time I walked in there, you know, you just lay on a table, and you don't really have to take your clothes off or anything like that. I know some practitioners like ask that you be nude because they feel like it's better to connect with the body. I've never noticed a difference whether someone's got clothing. Yeah, I don't think you have either, right? So
No.
I've never really noticed there's a difference. But she put her hands on me, and then at one point, like, my body was right here, and her hands were like above my body, and then she got higher and higher up, and then she did this whole like circle with her hands, and I just felt like someone had opened an oven door, and this blast of heat hit me, and I was like, holy shit, like, this is like, oh my God, what is this? And I was so intrigued after that. I was like, I have to know what this is. I have to know what this is. And it actually helped to initiate my psychic abilities again. So I know a lot of Reiki healers who are naturally like intuitive, and they are naturally like, they sense things even when they're doing Reiki, and you are an intuitive yourself. So have you noticed your abilities like getting stronger as you progressed along your business?
Definitely. It really does increase that intuition and help you get more in tune with yourself first. You really develop that connection with your body first, and then you start to pick up on the energy more. And in picking up on energy, of course, everything in this reality really is energy. So you're in tune with everything more, and that really just increases that ability.
Yeah. So what is your favorite part about providing like Reiki to people? What do you get from it personally?
Oh gosh, I love the transformation that my clients make from when their first session to after a couple months is just incredible, and it's really the most fulfilling thing in the world for me.
Tell me about an experience that you've had, like a really amazing story or a client story or an experience that you had with someone.
Okay, so this isn't a typical experience at all, but it was really, really cool. I had this woman come in with her husband, and she had really bad asthma and was having a lot of panic attacks and couldn't breathe. And she was on an inhaler and had been for 20 plus years. So we did the session, and she left, and I didn't hear from her for a few weeks. You know, I checked on her, but didn't get a response. And I was like, I hope she's okay.
Right.
Anyways, her husband called, and he told me that she had the roof of her mouth actually broke out in like little white bumps after the session.
Yeah.
But it cleared up in 2 days, and she hadn't had asthma since.
What?
Her asthma
Wow.
completely went away.
You know, it's weird.
Yeah.
I sometimes when I eat certain foods, I have those little bumps that pop up in the top
Hmm.
of the roof, and I don't know what those are. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then it like completely goes away within seconds. So it's there for a minute.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah, it's weird. So that's not typical. You know, what's
No, it's not.
and I can totally understand because I have had people come to me for Reiki sessions, and when I
Hmm.
do a session, they're expecting me to like be Jesus and heal them and make all the
Right.
demons go away, and I'm like, no, like
Right.
I don't walk on water. You know, so
Right.
I tell people like let's have realistic expectations. What do you want your intention to be? But what
Right.
can people expect? Like if they go in for a Reiki session, what can they expect from it? First of all, like I know some people are very intimidated because they still, even with us talking about it, they still are like, I don't know what
Hmm.
to expect. So like walk me through like the whole process as far as what it is like to have a Reiki session with you.
Sure. So you come in, we sit down for about 15, 20 minutes and kind of I get a feel for, what you're going through and, maybe where some of the blockages might be,
Mm-hmm.
and tell you a little more about Reiki and answer any questions that you may have. And then, I'm sorry, the dogs are barking.
Oh no, it's fine.
Hey, hey, hey. So then after that, we go into session.
Mm-hmm.
I actually smudge you using Palo Santo. It's a really high vibrational plant, and it just kind of clears any kind of heaviness or energy that might not be your own out of the aura.
Mm-hmm.
After that, we check the chakras. So we actually find out which ones are blocked, where the blockages are, which will help me understand what patterns in your life you may need to shift a little bit in order to truly heal those chakras and heal those energy blockages. Then we do the Reiki session. So during that, it's just hands-on healing. I just place my hands in certain positions and allow the energy to flow.
Yeah.
You actually pull the energy through me. So it's not like I'm giving you energy. You're actually pulling it from the universe through me. So it's exactly what you need and tailored to your specific, needs and whatever the consciousness feels like would be best for you.
Yeah.
So then we do the hour session. After that, I kind of bring you back. You go into a really deep, relaxed state. And most people just feel the energy as heat. It's like a really soothing, nurturing heat.
Mm-hmm.
So then I bring you back. We seal the Reiki and talk a little bit about those blockages and where they were and a few techniques to keep those open and
Mm-hmm.
heal those blockages. So it will clear all the chakras during the session.
I know from my experience with you, it's like when you're working on me, even though your hands are in certain spots, I can feel like other hands working on me sometimes. Like there's more
Mm-hmm.
than one person working on me, even though I know where she's at. And the energy for me, like when I felt it, it feels like waves of energy just flowing through you. I know this last time that I went to see you, my head was just like burning up, and not in like a peaceful
Right.
burning up. It was more like hot, and it was like,
Right.
holy crap. And so I was just like soaking in, and every time I have a Reiki session, I feel like amazing afterwards. And I have to definitely have one every 3 or 4 months because I load on so much energy, and even though I have clearing techniques that I do for myself, we still all need somebody. You know, we still all need
Definitely.
each other. And it helps us to, for a moment, let our guard down, let somebody else in, and just let them nurture you as a representative for the universe.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, question. So, what are the most common issues that people usually come in with, or what are the most common topics that people want to address when dealing with Reiki?
Stress. Stress is really the number one thing that I see. And people leave the session and they have this sense of inner peace that wasn't there before. So it's really good for that. Also low energy, people who are just like drained all the time, who don't feel really alive and vital. They come in and leave a whole different person, basically, energetically. Also people who feel stuck, like just don't really know what to do or what they want in life. I get a lot of that.
Shifts.
Depression, anxiety, people who feel out of balance. Sometimes we just don't feel like ourselves anymore. We just feel a little off. Well, that's a good sign that there's an alignment issues in your chakra
Yeah.
or alignment issue in your chakras. So those are the main things that people come in for. But it also does work, for chronic problems, even physically, any type of healing you really need.
Yeah. So, with people who want to get a hold of you for Reiki, they want to book an appointment. Your process is actually pretty simple. I mean, you just go online and book it with Squarespace or Square Up, and then like it's done. Like you're booked, and you just have to confirm for them that the appointment's there. But where can people go to book an appointment with me? I know you have a special going on right now.
Right. So the website is www.simplyreikihouston, and it's REIKI Houston.com. And we are actually offering a buy two, get one free gift card for Christmas. So why not give the gift of healing?
Right.
Yeah.
And now's the time. And even if you don't give it to somebody else, like I would say, like use it for yourself. Many times when you get a Reiki session, it's not like something you do once and that's it. Like you're done. Right. It usually has to be followed up by other sessions, but you do it when you feel compelled, when you feel pulled to it. I always tell people when they ask me like, how often should I have it? I'm like, it depends on you. I've had clients who come like once a year and I'm like, hey girl, like where you been? And then I've had clients who were coming once a week because they were dealing with a lot of psychiatric or mental emotional depression and all those kinds of issues. And you can see the progression, especially those clients, you can see like the change over time, what happens. It's pretty amazing, guys.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, normally around this time I go and do readings. So you want to hang in there and do some readings with me?
Sounds good. Yeah. Let's do it.
So I'm going to go ahead and start answering some questions. Okay. So let's go over to, let's see. I've got tons of questions here. Okay. So hi, Fernando. Hi. Yes. Okay, so I've got one from, let's create this one here. Okay, so I've got one from Vera, or Vera. So I'm going to read it to you because I know you can't see the screen. So the question is, hi, Ferny, I had a misunderstanding with my husband. Is he going to realize, because I want to have a good night, I don't know why he's so moody. So I'll ask you first, like, why do you think he's been so moody lately? And even though they had a misunderstanding, which is probably the reason why, they're not getting along, but what do you think is causing him to be so moody?
I think maybe a little more open communication would really go a long way for that. There might be some things that he's feeling a little uncomfortable in expressing, and they're kind of underlying, and he's just using maybe kind of using other things to blame those deeper issues on. So maybe just a real heart-to-heart.
So you're saying that this is probably not even anything to do with them. This is probably something else that's just triggered and gone into this whole spiral thing, or?
I mean, it may be something in the relationship, but just some issues maybe he's not feeling completely comfortable talking about. And so he's using other things to kind of blame those on.
So he's using her as like a target.
And maybe.
He's throwing darts at her. Like, pew, pew. Yeah. Well, when I was tuning into this era, I was feeling that I think he's probably stressed out, or he's got some issues going on in his work situation or professional life. And I think that's carrying over into the relationship. And maybe some things that have been said in the relationship angle triggered just that excess of frustration, maybe anger and anxiety within him. And he's just like, and I agree with Victoria, he's like aiming it at you and he's focusing on you. But I think that's where some of this is coming from his professional stuff, not necessarily the relationship. I think you guys will be fine. I think you'll be fine within a couple of nights. But I just think that he's just having those kinds of issues. Also, he probably needs to like look at his iron levels because his body may not be having enough iron in his diet. And of course, that always makes people moody because it makes them feel tired and mentally like raw. So he might need to be on like a and I'm not a doctor, so I cannot diagnose, but he might need to look into a multivitamin, maybe a liquid multivitamin, since it's much more easily absorbed into the body. And that's what I would suggest. So good question from Vera. So let's go over to, let's see. Future Houston. Oh, let's try this one here. I've got one from Cynthia. So Cynthia says, I have gone to 3 different doctors regarding a small bump in my underarm. They say it's not cancerous and neither one can tell me why it's there and won't go away. Been there for over 2 months.
I don't know.
Usually what the underarm is, that what is that connected to? That's the
Toxins in your life.
Yep.
So I would probably get a third opinion, just to make sure, but maybe try a detox. Try a detox and see if that helps. Got a little more.
For people who don't know what a detox is, what would you suggest you do to detox?
They have all kinds of supplements that you can get at like GNC and stuff like that to help cleanse the body and detox it. Also natural teas. There's essential oils you can use. And really just not putting processed foods, coffee, cigarettes, alcohol in your body, kind of giving it time to heal itself.
Yeah. I get the feeling, I think that the underarm area, I think there's a lymph node under there. So I think that there's some sort of, that's just connected to the lymphatic system. And Victoria's right. Like the lymphatic system is a system that regulates toxicity levels within the blood. Like whenever you have too much toxins in the blood, the lymphatic system helps to process and like release some of that. And I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you exactly everything that it does, but that's what I understand the lymphatic system does. My feeling is that something's happening with your hormone levels, where there's something seeping into your body, which is affecting your hormone levels and causing it's kind of weird. It's almost as if the lymphatic system is reacting to something in your system as if it is a toxin, even though it's not. And it might either be a medication or it might be something that you're introducing into your system, like a supplement or a medication for something else. So there may be something else you're taking for a specific reason, and then it's building up as toxicity in your blood or in your system, and your lymphatic system is like, oh, we've got an external cause, we've got something that shouldn't be in the bloodstream, so it's building up in the lymphatic system or in some of the lymph nodes, and I believe that's one of the lymph nodes underneath the underarm. So I would go to like a lymphatic specialist, or you can go to an endocrinologist, because they regulate your hormones, and I think that if you figure out what is causing this in the hormones, then this might actually initiate this to self-heal or repair in the lymphatic system. So try an endocrinologist or try a lymphatic specialist. That's where I would point you. And I agree with Victoria. Maybe doing a light detox or a detox might help to initiate that process as well, so that your body has a helping hand in trying to release some of those toxins. Pretty cool. All right, so let's see. Okay. Okay, so let's. Okay, got it. Let's see. Got a few here. I'm having to go through all the ones where it's like, hey, we can see you. We can see you. I'm like, I got it. Okay, so here's one. Here's a good one. Here's one from Yvette. And so it's, I've been having intense dreams and keep seeing repeating numbers of three. Or three. 333 is the most common. Is my spirit guide trying to tell me something?
So this is a major, yes. This is definitely a major sign that you are starting to kind of wake up and your intuition is starting to increase, especially if you're waking up a lot at night, and seeing number sequences. Also, repeated songs, if you happen to hear the same song over and over again, or a certain part of a song over and over again. That's how sometimes they can communicate the messages to you. So be really open to that and pay attention to it. It almost feels like a warning of some sort. Nothing grave, dangerous, just kind of a warning to kind of keep yourself in balance, maybe something along those lines, or keep your thinking positive.
So Yvette, when I was tuning into this, first of all, you got to watch your Family, girl, because as soon as I was tuning into this, I feel that you might have some extra help or financial like stability as we go into the Christmas months and going into January. And for some reason, as I'm tuning into that, I feel that family desires or needs, or, I want what you've got, may start to kick into gear. And it's like life is telling you, hey, Yvette, focus on you, take care of you. Blessings are headed your way. We are helping you as best as we can, but we can only help you as much as you help yourself. And so as we start to approach the new year going into like January, you might start to get more family members either wanting help from you or wanting some sort of financial support from you or interactions with people and money. And it's almost as if it's okay to be selfish in this situation. It's okay to think of yourself. I mean, yeah, it's good to be there for others whenever you can, but when you honestly can't afford it, it's okay to say no. So I feel like the universe is trying to support you and to help you with prosperity in some way or another. And family members or family issues may seep into this and start to get in the way of that prosperity. So you might need to like maybe spend some time away from family or try to watch your money a little bit better so that you're not handing over too much of it to other people. Because if you start to give away the blessings, you may... It's one thing to bless others with blessings. And then it's another thing for people to want your blessings and you're not interested in giving it, but you give it out of guilt or then at that point you are literally slapping the universe in the face saying, thanks for the gift, but I'm going to give it to this person who is not deserving of it because I think you made a mistake. And you're like, who are you to judge what the universe or who the universe decides to bless? So that's what I'm thinking about that. All right. So I've got another question. Let's see. Hardworking, please. Okay, pain. Let's see. Okay, here's a good one. Here's one by Elizabeth. So, how do I open the gates in my life to find my purpose and explore the possibilities? I'm almost 40 and I have no idea.
Oh, great question. Yeah.
Elizabeth is not.
I know.
Most women, when they're like 40, don't know what the hell they're doing. So you're not like alone, Elizabeth. There's a lot of people out there who have the same issue.
Right, definitely. And purposes are kind of our number one question. So following your emotions, what brings you joy? What makes you happy? What feels like work versus what feels like passion? If you can find, your passion in something that works for you, chances are other people would be interested in it.
Yeah.
So just really try to follow what makes you feel good. What makes you happy, what makes you feel expanded in your life and in your happiness versus what shuts you down, what makes you close into yourself and not feel that joy.
Yeah. Elizabeth, I think that you should probably work with young people or even kids. And then you're like, kids, because I like kids, but I'm not a kid person either. It's like, it's that craziness that makes me nuts. But when I'm with kids, I'm great, but then when it also like can make me nuts. So, but I think that you would actually do really well working with younger people or kids. And when I say younger people, it doesn't mean like toddlers. They can be like young adults, but I feel like you would work well with young adults. I also feel that you actually may be pretty good at coordinating. So in any way, shape, or form, coordination could be like events, coordination could be people and resources, but I feel like coordination within environments would be a really, really good fit for you as well. So working with younger people, coordinating events. So I think any kind of work that you look at or any kind of work that you look towards that has to do with coordinating resources to people, helping them get to where they need to get to. Here's what I'm seeing. If you ever go to one of these events, like an Abraham Hicks event where, there's Esther Hicks and she talks about law of attraction and all that stuff. Or if you ever go to like a Tony Robbins event, he always has his helpers, people who are there to help him keep things going the way they should. And they act as guides for the people within their select group. That is what I see that would be a good fit for you. So it's like coordinating resources, helping younger people or people who are trying to reach their own goals. So I think that would be a great fit for you. And I honestly think that's probably something you're going to get into in 2 years' time. So give yourself a couple of years because you need to catch up to yourself and you're asking the universe for help. So the universe is going to send you help, but it's not going to say, here you go, try this on. It's going to say, hey, talk to this person. Hey, go here. Hey, try this. Hey, do this. And all these things are going to come together to really build a path for you that's going to lead you down this way. But I give it 2 years. I think you'll end up what I'm talking about or in a situation that I'm describing in about 2 years. Okay. So I've got one more question here. I've got one from Deborah. Let me bring this up here. So Deborah says, I have had IBS since I was 18. I am now 37. I've had numerous tests and procedures and no answers. Will I have this forever? Will ever be healed?
So IBS, it's kind of one of those tricky things where they say, oh, here's what you have, but we don't know why. Typically, when it's one of those issues, the cause is energetic. A lot of times we'll have emotional stress in our stomach, and it causes basically upset in there because things aren't flowing the way they're supposed
Mm-hmm.
to. So something like Reiki would be really great for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't tried it, give it a shot. And a lot of times our solar plexus, it controls the digest. Well, it does control digestion. So if there's a lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem, a lack of power, if you're giving your power away to others and allowing others to make you feel small, then that's going to affect your digestion too. So really taking your life back, becoming confident, and maybe trying Reiki.
Right. So I think alternative therapy is definitely the way to go with this, Deborah, because I think alternative therapies like Reiki, what is it, with acupuncture, I think these kinds of therapies can really help you. So here's what I'm seeing happening. Okay, so sometimes whenever, like diet wise, whenever we consume, let's say something that's really fatty, what happens is a lot of people afterwards, they get the runs really quickly, because what is happening is your body immediately realizes that it's getting a very high source of like fatty, like food stuff they can put away for back when we were in the days when we were like hunter gatherers and we used to forage for food. Some calories, some foods put a lot of fat on us fairly quickly. And they help us to essentially like build fat so that we can prepare for a hard winter or whatever. And so some foods are lighter and they don't take up as much, they don't have as many calories. So sometimes when you eat something that's really rich and fatty, it immediately signals the body, hey, drop what you're doing and focus on picking these things up into the body, which would be the fatty foods. So you literally get the runs in and it just like spills all over, right? It just makes a mess everywhere. And so I think that's what's happening when you, so I think what's going on is, I don't think it's necessarily you eating fatty foods, but I think your body is going through the same process, meaning that when you eat certain types of proteins, and remember, I am not a doctor, a dietitian, or a gastrointestinal expert, but this is my psychic, energetic opinion. I think that when you are eating certain foods that have particular proteins in them, usually found in meat or in dairy, I think that your body immediately signals, even though it's not a high fatty food, it signals the body that something high and rich in calories is coming in. So it's told to drop whatever is there. And so it's miscommunicating. I feel like it's misfiring or miscommunicating with the lower intestines what it needs to do so that it can prepare for this high rich food and focus all its energy on that. And so you eat this little, a protein based off of dairy or off of certain meats, and your body triggers that mode, even though it's not a proper, you're just more sensitive that way. And then immediately you go into an IBS syndrome or episode. That's what I feel is happening there. And I see this a lot. I've actually seen this quite often where these kinds of situations with IBS happens, the body is misfiring or triggering this issue to go into effect. I would suggest going to a gastrointestinal expert. You probably have been. I mean, if you've been dealing with this for a while, that's probably already been something you've done. Try Reiki, see if that helps to settle your stomach. And I do think a lot of our physical body issues are based in energy. And so you might be having trouble dealing with life. I think you might be more sensitive than you let on. I think that sometimes when you're in front of people, you put on a front. This is how you are. I don't think that's actually how you are at all. I think you're very sensitive. And sometimes what you take on or what life is throwing at you is too much and you can't handle it. So your anxiety gets the best of you. And it's like something heavy, drop what you're doing and focus on this energetically. And it goes into that mode as well. So I think it's really a combination of a couple of things there. But go to a gastrointestinal expert. They might be able to help you. Try Reiki, try acupuncture. I would also maybe, I think that's what I would say. Just try that. And you might need to try a gastrointestinal expert that's a little more aware of these kinds of syndromes and may recommend like alternative therapy or a change in your diet just to help make it a little easier. Okay. All right. So for people who want to get a hold of you, again, where do they go?
You can visit www.simplyreiki.Houston.com.
Excellent. And so you've got a 2-for-1 special going on now. When does this run out?
December 31st.
December 31st. Well, thank you so much for being my guest. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I love you very much. You have no idea how much you helped me. And so I want to thank everybody for joining in. If I didn't get to your questions, I'm so sorry, but we will have another show next week, same time. So tune in then, and hopefully I'll get some of your questions answered then. I love you guys, and you guys have a good night. All right?
Bye.
Bye.